Uh-oh.
Alexander Usyk versus Tyson Fury, the rematch. Let's talk about the fight. First, let's talk about how I scored it.
Good fight.
So at the start, I gave the very first round, the opening round, to Alexander Usyk for being busier in the round with cleaner punches. And Fury, he seemed a bit gun-shy, hesitant.
I saw some people giving Fury that round, but I don't know what for.
Gave the first round to Usyk, the second round to Usyk.
The third round to Usyk.
While I was being bombarded on social media by many a Tyson Fury fan telling me that Tyson Fury was up after 3.
For doing what?
I had Alexander Usyk up after 4. For me, it's either 3 rounds to 1 in favor of Usyk or 4-0, 4-0 in favor of Usyk.
Fight got off to a fast start, and there was no fussing about from Tyson Fury. No more showboating, no showmanship, just business.
From Tyson Fury, lots of pressure, lots of come forwardness, even more than we saw in the first fight from Alexander Usyk. Though understanding that I might be off by a round, and the judges might be a lot more generous with Tyson Fury than I was being, I understood that after 4 rounds, they might have given him one of those rounds. Now for what? I'm not completely sure. But all fight week, you saw a lot of pro-Fury propaganda, a lot of partiality.
Even Eddie Hearn was rooting for him.
And in the back of my mind, I felt like that might affect the way the fight is scored. I gave the 5th round to Tyson Fury for landing the more eye-catching punches in the round, eye-catching body shots. I gave him the 5th round, and I was about to give him the 6th round until Alexander Usyk finished strong, landing left hand after left hand.
So power shots.
Remember that Alexander Usyk is a southpaw. He leads with his right to set up his left, and he was landing a good number of left hands at the tail end of that round. Those were the most eye-catching punches of the entire round. So I gave Usyk the 6th round. The 7th round seemed like a swing round to me. Not a lot happened in that round, though Usyk did finish strong, so you could edge it towards him.
7th round swing.
Definitely gave Alexander Usyk the 8th round. Constant pressure from Alexander Usyk coming forward, throwing combinations, pressing the issue, and not much from Tyson Fury, not much of a response. Gave the 9th round to Alexander Usyk. Busier in the round, many clean punches landed, and Fury was just circling away, trying not to get hit.
10th round swing.
The 10th round seemed like another swing round to me, where you could swing it either way. You could swing it to Usyk, you could swing it to Fury. Both men did good work in that round. It was a very tight round, and you got the sense that Fury was trying to come on.
Yeah, he was busy in the 10th.
The 11th round was a very strong Alexander Usyk round. He landed a barrage of left hands, straight left hands, down the pipe.
A lot of pressure, a lot of combinations in that round. He landed a lot of backhands in that round.
The 12th and final round, you saw a lot from both. You saw a lot from Tyson Fury, you saw a lot from Alexander Usyk, but in the exchange, it just seemed like Usyk was getting the better end of it because his punches were shorter, tighter, and thus more accurate. Whereas Fury, being the taller, longer fighter, it's harder for him to connect punches within close quarters because his arms are so long, he needs room to work. So he was missing a lot of punches.
Oh yeah, he was definitely letting his hands go. He was trying for a lot of punches, but he was missing a lot of punches. And that's what the punch stats show.
Tyson Fury, in spite of throwing more punches than Alexander Usyk, he was landing less of them. He was landing at a lower percentile than Usyk was.
This was a decisive Alexander Usyk win.
Landing approximately 42% of his overall punches thrown That's close to half.
That's high.
All three judges scored it 116, 112 in favor of Alexander Usyk. There was a lot of talk in the buildup of this fight about this artificial intelligence they would be using to unofficially score the fight. How would the AI's scorecard compare to the actual judges? What I saw after the fight is that the AI had Alexander Usyk winning by an even wider margin, 118 to 112. The artificial intelligence company Jabber had it in favor of Alexander Usyk, 117 to 110.
Wait, is that the same one that they were using to unofficially score this fight?
Well, that's what I'm not sure about. I knew about Jabber going in. I had heard about this artificial intelligence, Jabber, that they're using to anecdotally score fights, but I wasn't sure if that's the one they were using for this one officially, the one that the boxing writers were writing about and the one that we were hearing about. In any event, it does seem like the AI, whichever one they used, it scored the fight for Usyk. So this was a decisive Usyk win, to where all three judges have been winning and the artificial intelligence or intelligences.
Usyk!
After being informed that the artificial intelligence had Usyk winning by a wide margin, wider than the judges, Fury responded by saying, "Screw all computers, keep humans going. More jobs for humans, less jobs for computers. Screw electric cars, too."
More jobs for humans. The humans didn't have you winning either, Fury.
Even if Frank Warren did.
Reactions? Obviously, you didn't agree with the decision.
No, I certainly didn't. I didn't see how one judge could only didn't give him a round from round 6 onwards, and the other two gave him 1 round each. I don't know what fight they were watching. A neutral was Oscar De La Hoya was sitting there, and he had Tyson winning like I did, and I think most of the people sitting where he was at.
What do you think the scorecard should have been, in your opinion, Frank?
I thought Tyson won it.
By what? The same score, but reverse?
Couple of rounds, at least.
Comparing this performance to the first fight, what differences did you see? What did you like from
There was
Tyson?
no show. There was Tyson. There was no showboating, and he got down to business, and he was in his jab. He had the better jab. Doing what he had to do.
One last one, Frank, before you go in there. Does this set up a rematch with Dubois? Is that the next thing?
I don't know yet.
I was quite confident. I thought I won that fight again. I think I've got Larry Holmes here. I thought I've won both fights. But then again, I've gone home with 2 losses on my record now, so there's not much I can do about it. I can just fight my heart out and do the best I can. But again, I'll always believe until the day I die, I won that fight.
Did you feel that, like, you know, this time you had him more on the back foot, you're a bit
aggressive on the back foot. I was on the front foot all night, yeah.
That's not what I saw. And I'll forgive Tyson Fury's recollection of the fight because he did just spend 36 minutes getting punched in the head, but on the front foot all night.
You're describing the fight that Alexander Usyk fought. He was on the front foot from the opening bell.
Landing body and head. Frank had me 3 or 4 rounds up. A lot of people had me at least 2. I just don't know. Listen, it is what it is. I'm not going to cry over spilled milk. It's happened now. I know boxing, been in it all my life. You can't change no decisions. But I'll just always feel a little bit hard done by. Not a little bit, actually a lot. But I think when you don't get the knockout, this is what happens. You can't guarantee a win.
No desire, no need to play the violin for Tyson Fury, who is not only the bigger man,
He's bigger in every way. He's taller. He's longer.
he outweighed Alexander Usyk by a whopping 55 pounds. You outweighed him in both fights.
The promotion was definitely behind Tyson Fury. All fight week, it was a pro Tyson Fury crowd. Even Turkey LL Sheik himself was rooting for Tyson Fury.
So when a guy that has as many advantages as you do going into this fight, these fights, doesn't steamroll the smaller man, doesn't run through him the way you said you would. No, I don't feel sorry for you. This was a decisive Usyk victory.
Just your reaction to Tyson Fury tonight?
I thought it was a very close fight.
You said 6-5 on Twitter going into the last
I
round.
thought Usyk nicked the last round. I had it a draw. But, there seems to be a lot of people that had Usyk the winner. I think it's at the overall, but I felt like there was a lot of close rounds.
Seems to me that the only way you could have scored this fight for Tyson Fury is if you had a rooting interest in Tyson Fury. And I know that you could say the same thing about the Usyk fans.
It's the advantages and disadvantages that tell the story.
No, Alexander Usyk was at a disadvantage in this fight the same way that he was in the first one. He's the smaller man, the lighter man, the older man.
The promotion is not behind him, it's behind Fury. They would have preferred that Fury win because he's more jovial and he's more of a character.
Not to say that Usyk isn't a character in his own right, because he is, but there is a language barrier, so it is a little harder to sell him.
Trusting your eyes.
Trusting mine, Usyk seemed determined to press forward and press the issue from the very start. Round after round, he seemed the busier fighter in more rounds.
Most of the time, in most of the rounds. And he didn't want to let Fury have the final say.
That means whenever Tyson Fury had a moment of success, Alexander Usyk was very quick to respond, let go of punches of his own. He wouldn't let him have the final word in the exchange. And in the exchange, he was just better. There's not a lot more to it. His punches were shorter, tighter, more defensible, and more accurate.
There's not a lot more to it than that.
Whenever quiet moments would start to creep up in the round, Usyk gets off a body shot,
Or a left hand.
staying with Tyson Fury the whole time. I was surprised that Fury was able to finish the fight on his feet, because from the opening stanza, they got off to a fast start. I felt that the pace would eventually catch up to Fury. In a manner of speaking, it did, but he did better than I expected. I expected a more disheveled Fury than what we got.
I expected that he would have made more mistakes. I expected that he was going to lose his shape. He fought a better version of the fight that he fought in the first fight.
Because he didn't get ragdolled this time like he did in the 9th round of the last one.
Was better in that regard.
So you notice that when Fury's not clowning around and trying to fool the audience at large that he's doing better than he actually is, like he did in the first fight,
He loses by a wider margin.
that when he finally buckles down and stops horsing around, he ends up losing by a wider margin. So he did better than I expected, but what I was expecting was that he was going to get knocked out. He didn't.
But he definitely lost.
He doesn't think so, but that's just another case of sour grapes.
Where does he go from here?
Who?
Tyson
There's
Fury.
only one fight, but there's no point me. It's not the time to start calling the fight out. You don't know what Fury's going to do. Maybe he doesn't want to fight again. The one thing I will say is, Fury performed well. You know, it's not like he's a finish fighter. His timing was off. His punch resistance has gone. He put up a good performance. So for me, the only fight to make is AJ Fury. But let's see.
Is that half the reason why AJ waited to see? Because obviously, and Turkey said in an interview with us, he doesn't want to make AJ Dubois next.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we can do whatever we want to do. What the public want is AJ against Fury. It's what they always want. And it's time to make that fight.
The fight's done now, it's in the past. I've not got a decision, it is what it is, we move on. And that's it. Go home to my family, I've not seen my kids for 12 weeks. It is what it is, can't change no decisions, I've done the best I could. If I could have done any more, I would have done, and that's it. Not Alexander's fault, congratulations to him and his team. Congratulations to everybody, thank you to Turkey, El Sheikh, Frank, Spencer, everybody who's involved, Bob, for putting it on, giving me the opportunities to have a great career and a great fight. Thank you.
Great cheese! Fantastic Fury!
So soon after the fight, attention now turns to what Tyson Fury will do now, because I think we can all agree he's not a shot fighter. He's not a fighter who yesterday looked like he's on the back nine. Even though he lost comprehensively, his punch resistance is still there, his cardio is still there.
Even his boxing acumen, his ring savvy, though Usyk's is clearly better than his.
Well, I thought that before their two meetings, before their two fights, and the bottom line is, Fury's still got it.
You guys know I'm not a fan of him.
Fury's still got it. Still fights to be made. There is still money to be made, and he's already made so much already throughout his career, but there is that much more.
Joshua versus Fury.
Anthony's coming off a loss right now. So is Tyson Fury. We know that the Brits are not hung up on unbeaten records. Both guys lost to Alexander Usyk 2 times. They're on an even keel, an even playing field.
They still got to settle up with each other. That is still the biggest fight in British boxing.
You're thinking to yourself, what about the Dubois fight? What about the Dubois rematch? You can't say that Anthony doesn't need that.
He does.
But a good precursor, a good prelude, would be a Tyson Fury fight, especially now, since they're both coming off of losses. I will say that Tyson Fury showed more yesterday with Alexander Usyk than Anthony Joshua showed in the Daniel Dubois fight. So going into a fight between them, Fury's likely going to be the favorite for a lot of money.
I think this is what Eddie Hearn would prefer. We know he's been beating the drum for a Joshua versus Fury showdown ever since the Daniel Dubois fight.
In spite of how it went, one may feel so inclined to ask, why would he want to put Anthony Joshua in a Tyson Fury fight given what happened with Daniel Dubois? Is he cashing his man out?
Certainly one way to look at it.
But yet another is Eddie Hearns' philosophy as a promoter, as not every promotional outfit goes about things the same way. I feel like for Eddie Hearn, it's about the size and scale of the event. Not so much the fighter and not so much the brand, but the show.
And whether or not it's successful, whether or not it actually turns over a profit.
By now, I think we all know that Eddie Hearn isn't afraid to match his fighters tough, even his star fighters, and even if it seems less than ideal for them, that he still wants to do this show because he knows it's a big show. Remember that he was talking about doing this fight even in the event that Tyson Fury won. He wanted to do it. So when Tyson Fury loses, the incentive is the same.
Still a big fight.
And I don't think you can help but go back and forth on this one if you're objective. That in the last few years, there may have been moments where you favored Anthony to win the fight. Right now, you might be favoring Tyson Fury. That's irrespective of your rooting interests.
Showing some objectivity, irrespective of what your rooting interest might be, because if nothing else, the sports books are going to have one of these guys as the favorite going in.
You know that. And in all likelihood, I think Tyson Fury will be the favorite going into this fight because he showed more in his second loss to Usyk than Anthony Joshua showed in his loss to Daniel Dubois.
I remember immediately after the Dubois fight, the Dubois loss, when talks of a rematch started, there were people that felt Anthony didn't really deserve one, that he was never really in that fight. It wasn't competitive. Daniel got him out of there fast.
So maybe Anthony didn't deserve a rematch. I think one way of earning it is beating Tyson Fury to reestablish trust in the fighter. If you want people to trust you again and believe in you again and believe that you actually stand a chance against Daniel, you need to beat Luke.
That's not even saying that he can or he will, but it's a step in the right direction to show people that you've still got it.
Because we know that Tyson Fury does. And I don't even like Tyson Fury, but he fought well yesterday.
These two guys' careers are winding down. What we're seeing is the end of the old era of heavyweights, that cycle, and the beginning of a new one.
And it would be a great pity, a great shame, and a stain on British boxing if this era of heavyweights comes and goes and we don't get that Joshua versus Fury fight. We know we're not getting Joshua versus Wilder.
That's dead.
I don't even really want that fight anymore, but I still want this one as a Brit.
You're not an Englishman.
But I do speak English and eat English muffins. I need this fight.
We need this fight, Eddie.
Frank, George, you do what you gotta do, and you deliver.
Do it.